Thank you all for joining us tonight for our Conectar-Connect event with Hispanic Leaders Network. My name is Dr. Mito Diaz Espinosa, and I am the Leadership Development Chair for HLN. So I'd like to welcome you all and say thank you for being here on such a lovely night. It's exciting to see everyone. We had a packed house registration today, so it's really encouraging to see so many people responding to our events. So I want to say thank you all for being here. This is a monthly leadership development session that we do. It's primarily for networking, but we also want to make sure that we're connecting with the community and making sure we have topics that are relevant to us and engaging for you all. I'll say this again at the end of the night, but tonight, if you registered, you're going to get an email that has a survey. We'd really appreciate you giving us feedback, giving us topic ideas, telling us how we've done so that we can continue to make these events really special and meaningful for everyone here. The Hispanic Leaders Network is a group of passionate leaders deeply vested in supporting current and future leaders in the greater Waco community. Our vision is to develop and empower current and future leaders to make a difference in the community. Our mission is to provide personal, cultural, and professional opportunities to inspire Hispanic leaders to serve and make a positive impact. We have a meaningful program for you tonight titled Building Bridges, moderated by HLN board member Josh Caballero, who you'll hear from shortly. But first, we want to take a moment to invite Hector Sabito to give a special presentation honoring Black History Month.
Buenas tardes. We're going to try this again. Buenas tardes. There you go. Thank you for being here. As Dr. Diaz Espinosa said, we want to honor not only Latinos through Hispanic Leaders Network, but also celebrate Black History Month and honor the contributions of Afro-Latinos in our country and all over the world. The Hispanic Leaders Network would like to take a moment to celebrate Black History Month and significant contributions made by Black or African Americans. Black History Month is a celebration of resilience, courage, and the invaluable contributions of Black individuals throughout history. It's a time to honor the struggles and triumphs of those who have fought against oppression, championed equality, and shaped the world with their intellect, creativity, and unwavering spirit. Let us use this month as an opportunity to amplify Black voices, recognize their invaluable legacy, and commit ourselves to building a more just, inclusive, and equitable society for all. We also want to acknowledge approximately 6 million individuals living in the United States that identify as Afro-Latinos. The life experiences of Afro-Latinos are shaped by race, skin tone, and other factors in ways that differ from other Hispanics. The multiple dimensions of Latino identity reflect the long colonial history of Latin America, during which mixing occurred among indigenous American, white Europeans, Asians, and enslaved people from Africa. In Latin America's colonial period, about 15 times as many African slaves were taken to Spanish and Portuguese colonies other than the United States. About 130 people of African descent live in Latin America, and they make up roughly a quarter of the region's total population, according to recent estimates from the Project on Ethnicity and Race in Latin America at Princeton University. The cultural impact of Afro-Latinos can be felt through the music of Celia Cruz and Cardi B, seen through athletic feats performed by Romento Clemente and Lori Hernandez, the history books with Dominican-born Tuskegee Airman Esteban Otese and Panamanian Gwen Ifili, and recently in the Oscar nomination of Belizean and Guatemalan actor Colman Domingo. So can we take this opportunity to please give a round of applause as we celebrate Black History Month. It's in the same vein of celebration and honor that we want to honor a pioneer who we recently lost, not only in our city, but our county as well. Commissioner Pat Miller, who was a dear friend of ours and a dear friend of the Hispanic Leaders Network, as many of you know, was very active in our organizations. You saw her at events, she championed for us, In fact, for the first time, it was Commissioner Miller who really made a presentation and contribution to the Hispanic Leaders Network on the county level as she did a proclamation from McLennan County for Hispanic Heritage Month. And so we miss her. In fact, she was registered for today's event. That's how active and ready she was. But we also celebrate her legacy as she was the first Black woman to be elected to McLennan County Commissioner's Court. So at this moment, I would like to take an opportunity, if you would please bow your heads with me, as we take a moment of silence to honor Commissioner Patricia Miller. Thank you all. And let's not forget, in her way of doing things, to keep moving forward no matter what obstacles we face. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Hector. I'd also like to invite a current Baylor student. So one of the things that we like to do is engage with our sponsors, but also where we are. And so I reached out to some connections here at Baylor with an old program that I was part of, the First in Line program here at Baylor. And Michelle Gonzalez, their program director, suggested a student when I asked for someone to give the invocation. So I'd like to invite Vivian Sanchez up to give us the invocation for tonight's event.
Bow your heads with me. Dear God, we just thank you so much for the people here, the organization behind all of this, God, and just that we would make time to celebrate and encourage and just talk about all the things tonight, God. God, we thank you for just the blessing that you have in this city and on these people, God. God, would you be honored tonight? Would you be honored in our speech, the things that we think about, and the way that we walk in our everyday lives, God? Would you bless the food that we just ate, and just all the panelists and conversation that we'll have tonight, God? We thank you so much for just everything, God, that you have given us and blessed us with, God. Would you just be at the forefront of our minds in all that we do? In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Vivian. I'd also like to take this opportunity to announce that one of HLN's strategic pillars is language justice and access. Today we want to remind anyone that needs or wants to hear today's presentation in Spanish that we have equipment available. We also extend that to you all for your events in the community. If you have a meeting, if you have a program, and you need translation services and devices, we have those for rent for a small fee. So you can go to our website or you can talk to any one of the HLN board members and we can get you connected with that service and that equipment so that we can make sure that we're reaching out to everyone in the community and engaging them as needed. Without our generous partners and sponsors, the Hispanic Leaders Network could not host events like tonight's. We are grateful to the Office of External Affairs at Baylor University for sponsoring tonight's Conectar. Join me in welcoming Camille Wilder. Go ahead, clap. Join me in welcoming Camille Wilder, External Affairs Assistant Director for Community Relations, to talk a little bit more.
Thank you, Mito. As he said, my name is Camille Wilder, and I'm part of the Office of External Affairs here at Baylor. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It is our privilege and honor to partner with tremendous organizations like Hispanic Leaders Network and collaborate to bring these kind of events together and just bring access so that we all can come together and work to make Waco a better place. So thank you again for being here and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Camille. And with that, I want to invite Casey Ashenfelter, Director of Foundation Relations here at Baylor University, to introduce today's moderator. And then after that, we'll start our program. Casey.
privilege of introducing our moderator for tonight's panel, my good friend Josh Caballero. Josh is the Community Engagement Officer for the Housing and Community Development Office at the City of Waco, where he works with community partners to meet the goals of the city's strategic housing plan and ensure that community members have the opportunity to be engaged in that process. During his time in Waco, Josh has been active on several community boards, and he's currently serving on the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network Board of Trustees, the Board of Directors for American Gateways, the Hispanic Leaders Network Board, and also recently joined the Board of Directors for Waco Family Medicine. In addition to that, as if there needs to be an addition, he serves on local advisory boards for Planned Parenthood and MCH Family Outreach, and was recently named 40 Under 40 honoree in 2020 by the Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce. When Josh is not doing something in the community, he enjoys spending time with his wife Jennifer and daughter Millie Grace. Josh is a connector and bridge builder at his core, and I've gotten to see him in action as a community organizer, as an activist, an advocate, and probably most impressively, as a moderator for 6th grade Sunday school class. So he is well prepared for this task and for keeping us all in line tonight. So with that, take it away, Josh.
Thanks, Casey. You never know what's gonna be said in those sorts of things, right? So, and it's always a little unnerving. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know that we have a good panel in store for you and a good topic of conversation, and so we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna introduce each of our panelists tonight, and when I mention your name, if you would go ahead and make your way forward and find a seat, and then we will get started. So first we have Miss Toni Shelton. Many of you know Toni. She is an author, a poet, one of the organizers of Safe Space Sundays, and she currently serves as the Chief Impact Officer for communities and schools. And because there is a theme tonight, I'm also going to mention that Toni has her MSW as well. Next, we have Stephanie Mata. Stephanie is a senior here at Baylor, majoring in social work and child and family studies. She is the Multicultural Affairs Latinx Coalition intern and a first in line peer leader. Please welcome Stephanie. Next, we also have Natalie Sanchez. Natalie is a graduate of the School of Social Work here at Baylor. She currently serves as a community organizer for grassroots community development, and she leads out specifically organizing efforts in the South Waco community. If you'll please welcome Natalie. And finally, we have Mary Zane Nelson. Mary Zane is the program director and school behavioral health specialist with the Garland School of Social Work. I mentioned there was a theme with our panelists tonight. Here at the School of Social Work at Baylor University, leading and partnering for Heart of Texas Mental Health Project with Waco ISD Schools. Please give them all a round of applause. So as we begin tonight, I'm going to ask you all, if you don't mind, to one, further introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role with the organization where you are, and in particular, what kind of drew you to the role you currently serve in, the work you're currently doing in and outside of your job per se, and what attracted you to that type of role that really impacts people and our larger community.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So again, reintroducing myself, I'm Toni Shelton. I want to take this time to say thank you so much to Hispanic Leaders Network for putting this together. Can we give them one more round of applause? very difficult to execute on a vision. So thank you for that. So I'm Tony. I am a social worker, and I think that's going to be the theme for all of us. And as social workers, we just like to help people. And for me, my particular method of helping people is running this mouth of mine. That was a good joke, and I'm glad y'all laughed. And so I believe in the power of words. And so I get the privilege to serve communities and schools in the heart of Texas, where we believe that all children should be surrounded with a community of support, and we should empower them to stay in school and achieve in life. And so I'm the person that gets out and screams from the mountaintop, CIS is the best thing ever, and here's why you should give us some money. There we go. Had to leverage this platform. My dear friend Rocco Boltz is in the building. We decided that about 2.5 years ago that there was a unique need amongst young professionals and Black students in Waco, and we wanted to create what's called a safe space. And so he has leveraged his barbershop for us to have predetermined dialogue for the last 2 years. So that's been fun. Again, meeting a need. And then, if you follow me on social media, you know I'm always promoting this poetry. Again, believe in the power of words. So I use my poetry and my books to amplify and narrate the experiences of those of us that have not always belonged. We know the history of women and girls and Black people and people of color, our Black and brown sisters. And so I just always wanted to be that person that used words to heal, to draw attention to, and to connect, motivate, and inspire.
Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Mata. Well, first of all, thank you to HN for having me here tonight. Mito, thank you so much. And to all the amazing panelists who are here. Clearly, I am the oldest one. But just kind of reiterating what I do, and a lot of things. First and foremost, I get the privilege of having my communities here tonight, both the Multicultural Affairs table that I get to intern with as a Latinx Coalition intern, and then my beautiful Latina sorority, Kappa Delta Chi, along with my amazing friends. And just within my internship, they really saw something in me. I decided to go for it when I saw the application, because I really thought that I could make a difference. I'm a first-generation college student and a first-generation Salvadoran American as well. And I've always liked the word. I wasn't too good at words, but I'm great at action. That's my specialty. Being behind the scenes and just really doing things for other people has given me so much drive, and I think that's why I pursued a career, and I'm an aspiring social worker. And really just being a part of my community, what that looks like. And this is my second semester being an intern. I started in the fall, sorry. And just being able to not only put Hispanic Heritage Month out there into Baylor's community, but really being able to network with people and building relationships and what that looks like, because I never thought I was capable of doing that because of where I was from, the family I came from, and that is totally the opposite. And I think my goal and just drive is to show other girls, other students like me who come to Baylor, that even though we're at a PWI, like we're just aspiring to be the next generation of problem solvers and critical thinkers and just community builders. And yeah, and I also get to proudly serve to be the chaplain of my beautiful sorority and just spreading the gospel and what that looks like, and yeah, just being a servant of God.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie, and mostly nervous but also super excited to be here, so thank you for HLN for having us here. I forgot what I was going to say. I'm originally from Eagle Pass, Texas, so I have been in Waco since 2017 due to Baylor, so I was also a first-generation student and have had so many experiences in Waco that have just made me fall in love with Waco so much. And even in my internship, I had the privilege to be at Grassroots, where I got to hear about their mission and their goal of developing thriving communities and supporting community leaders, and that is really what made me fall in love with the work that I do. And I'm sure that my internship will come up again because I just love that experience so much. But really what I enjoy doing, and my passion for it really comes from a lot from my faith. I think that true leadership is about service and serving a community. And so through meeting with residents and neighbors and schools and businesses that we work with, just being that extra resource so that they can continue doing what they are already great at doing is really beautiful to be a part of. Yeah.
I'm Mary Zane Nelson, and yeah, really excited to be here. I run a grant for the school social work that is a partnership with Waco ISD that we put master's level social work interns into schools to prepare them to be school social workers and also work with kiddos who are having some mental health needs. And so schools have always been my passion. I wanted to be a teacher for a long, long time, and I realized in high school you had to write lesson plans, and that was not what I wanted to do. I think I do more paperwork as a social worker, but and so it's been a really great opportunity to be in the schools, but then also get to work with college students and get to prepare them and train them and be in both spaces and just get to see both parts. I just firmly believe that for a lot of kids, school is the safe place, the consistent place, the place that they can depend on, and I want to make sure that every student has that place. And I think for me, growing up, school was that place. Home was a little tumultuous at times, and so I knew what to expect at school. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and my guidance counselors and school supports were really how I got to where I am today. And so that's just been kind of where I have settled down. And so anyway, super excited. I love getting to be part of the school social work, and I love now as a parent also getting to see Waco ISD from that side and getting to be in it from the social work side.
Thank you all. So as you can see, we have a great panel lined up for you all tonight. Part of our theme tonight is bridging communities. That is a big focus for HLN as we are looking at how we can bridge new opportunities for leadership for folks, but also just begin to build bridges between communities. And I wonder, what does that mean for each of you, and what does that look like in your organization?
Do it. I guess we can hold the order that we started with. When I think about being able to serve communities and schools, it's thinking about which one of our students need the most support. And within that support, what do our students look like? What's their family life like? What are their needs and their desires? And what do we have to do to tailor our services to make sure that they have what they need to achieve in life? And it is asking questions, staying curious, not feeling like, oh, because I'm Black, I know what this Black person or this Black child's experience is, or because I'm not of brown or Asian or white heritage or ethnicity, it's not stopping there. Building a bridge, and someone said this earlier to me today, I think I stole it, I'm gonna steal it. Said, you know, bridges require people to walk on you, right? And so when we're talking, y'all were supposed to laugh at that, but that's true. Bridges mean that those of us that go ahead and serve, like what we're saying on this panel, you will be walked on because people are trying to get to unfamiliar territory. So when we're looking at working with our students, it's asking questions, leading with curiosity, and trying to figure out how to be an ally without taking up space and not trying to be a savior, because we don't need to save anybody. We just need to make sure that everyone has appropriate access.
Thank you, Tony. I think that's really wise what you said, especially the recognition that just because some of our experiences may be similar to someone else or aspects of our identity, we don't fully know or understand, right, or can identify with that. And so bridge building really does then take, I think, that curiosity to speak with. Right.
Thank you, Josh.
I would say for me, bridge building is a form of teamwork. I'm a huge advocate for Everything that I do, I've never done it alone, and it's never been just me. So I think kind of before the bridge is actually built, you know, how many people it took to build that bridge from people to get to one side to another. And I think with what I do, I get to work with so many great students who are the next generation of, you know, changing Baylor's history and just connecting students and people who work at Baylor and showing just, you know, age does not really define us and the things we can do. And so bridge building is students and faculty and staff in order to make a better Baylor, a better Latinx coalition, Asian student coalition, Black student coalition, and just all of us working together.
Thanks, Stephanie. Stephanie, I think you're a great reminder that anyone at any age can be a bridge builder at any time, right? Thank you.
I also think bridging is a lot of humility and self-awareness and being relational. I think it might just be because I'm from Eagle Pass and coming into Waco, and I get the privilege to work in the community that I live in, so that's awesome. But then also recognizing that that community was already thriving before I even got to that place. So what I love about grassroots is that we focus on identifying the strengths of that area and working with them to figure out what type of bridge do they even want. And I think of like the bridges down here and like the bridge from back home across the border. And there's just so many types of bridges and relationships that we can build. So even figuring out like when do you want me to bridge, or what is the timeline, or how can we work together to build this bridge, and having that relational aspect and coming in with those questions is super important. So that's successful.
Thanks, Natalie. I think Natalie's a great example of someone who's really intentional about how she builds bridges. She mentioned the internship earlier. I was fortunate enough to be at Grassroots when she interned there, and so I know that she does that well. Thanks, Natalie.
I mean, I think so much has already been said. I kind of want to piggyback off of what Tony said earlier of just that making sure when we are working to build bridges that we're not coming in to save people. I think so often it can be, you know, just we think we know what we need or they need or a different person needs and we haven't lived their experience. And right now I'm really working on with my kids that we don't all view the same thing. Like we don't view the same thing the same way. And so just remembering that each person has their own experience and their own way of looking at things. And so that's all valuable information to have when we're working together.
Thanks, Grace. So I do wonder, because we know that and recognize that bridge building is difficult. It's hard work. And Tony used the illustration earlier that you're going to be walked on, right? Yeah. And so I wonder, how do you go about preparing people in your organization or in your circle to really be bridge builders in your work? And let's start with Stephanie.
I think for me, really it's just everything that I've learned throughout the process, not just being an intern, but just being a student. Recently on Tuesday, someone told me, well, you have mentors, have you ever looked for a mentee? And I think, I've never really thought of that. I think I've never really thought that I was not capable of not being a mentor to somebody, but that I just never came across my mind, and that I always, there's always need for a mentor. But I also think with everything that I've learned, like I also can't keep that to myself as a student, spreading it to whether it be my sorority sisters, other members of the Latinx Coalition, even anyone I just really work with and what that looks like, because people always come to me asking me for questions on what it looks like to build our org, have more people participate, and at the same time, I always tell them I'm not the boss of them. I don't look over them like that. I'm simply just someone here to give resources, and I really think that's what it is, to help them be bridge builders at the same time, because at the end of the day, we're all, like I said before, we're all building the bridge together to help others, even after we're gone.
I think being present for one in the community is super important, and hearing the stories and getting to know like what's out there. Every single time I meet someone new, I'm like, oh my gosh, what you're doing is so cool. Like you should be doing what I'm doing. Like you need to have my position because you're like already doing so much in the community and it's awesome. But then also I think self-care is super important. Someone once told me like, you're just pouring out and pouring out and pouring out and like your cup is like empty. So like what are you even pouring out now? And so realizing that self-care helps you fill that cup up, that way you can continue pouring that 100%, was like a new thing that I had never thought of. So I think that's also super important.
Yeah, so I think especially working with interns, we talk a lot about cultural competence and a lot about cultural humility, and kind of walking that balance and maintaining a learner attitude of the space that you're in, and just maintaining that the people that we are working with are the experts of their own experience, and we need to continue to hear them, we need to continue to learn from them, and that we especially, I mean, none of us knows everything, right? And so even what works for me may or may not work for you. And so just allowing space and just continuing, I think even, especially in the schools, just teaching how to build relationships with every person in that school. So you need to know the janitor's name, you need to know the lunch lady's name, you also need to know, your admin, and you need to build relationships with each of them, and they are all powerful positions within the school building because it is its own micro community in there. And so, and then especially working with parents, just understanding that a lot of the parents that we work with have maybe gone through Waco ISD as well, and so sometimes there's a lack of trust, or they've been hurt, or they have had hard times in our school buildings, and so we're really having to work hard to earn their trust. And so just working with interns to know that takes time and consistency and showing up.
Yeah, I'm loving what everyone's saying. And that question, it stumped me, even though you sent these ahead of time. That was the one. It's the one I was like, how do we manage to do that? So from a CIS standpoint, yes, we do the cultural competency trainings and we try to upskill on how to treat people in context of racism, systemic racism, and slavery, and all of those types of things. But this question in particular, it makes me think, we were having a safe space Sunday gathering, and we were talking about, man, when we were growing up, and we went to church, it was like, there were all these cool programs, like, we visit this place, and I loved Bible school, and there were all these songs, and we're like, what happened to that? Then we paused, and Rocco was like, well, the people that were putting those programs in place were our age, so really we dropped the ball. So that was one thing. It makes me think of Bridges. And then it makes me think of Mrs. Pearlie Beverly, who's done way more than I can even recount. But in particular, in my life, in portraits, we'd say, start where you are, use what you got, and do what you got to do. And so from that conversation that we had in Safe Space, and then just thinking of Miss Beverly, and we're talking about being bridge builders, it's not trying to be a superhero. It's literally figuring out what tool, what gift did God bestow in me, and how do I leverage and use that to transform and impact other people? How am I a servant? And I just think we can get ourselves caught up in social media and trying to be this mythical, huge person, and it's like, no, it's what you're saying. It's recognizing who prepared my food. Let me make sure I'm saying thank you, and really taking the time to get to know who prepared my food, just as much as I'm smiling in the keynote space, because that's what we like to do. But I'm gonna get off of that. I'm not even gonna start there.
That's good. I think we heard some really important things there, right? I heard kind of, you don't have to be a superhero. I heard serving as a mentor, building relationships, building trust. I think all of those are really important when it comes to this conversation around how do you begin to build bridges. I wonder what additional strengths or skills you would say are really vital in this type of work. And where are there opportunities for growth or partnerships or new things to occur? that you see here in Waco? So Natalie, if you'll get us started this time.
That's awesome. That was a loaded question. Can you repeat that one more time?
So maybe what additional skills or knowledge do you think is needed to really do bridge building well? And then where are there opportunities, either within your organization or our Waco community, for success in that?
I think education is always important. So something that we practically do is go through the Race Equity Institute. We just had nonprofit Waco Foundation's training in the morning, and Cherry Champions was talking about how to build stronger teams, and even how those skills can get transferred out into the community. So on a super practical level, doing webinars and really trying to educate yourself on evidence-based practices. But then also, oh my gosh, my train of thought just left. Just continuing to pursue those authentic relationships are pretty tangible skills. Listening is a very important skill, and then also learning how to take action with people and doing consensus, and knowing how to have not management skills, conversational skills, and knowing how to communicate, and understanding that communication is not just talking to someone, but talking with someone. And then on the area of strengths in the community, I think the people are the strengths. We have so many thriving businesses and awesome people who are doing everything that they can to make their neighborhood look beautiful. We have awesome organizations that are also constantly trying to make their neighborhood beautiful. And I think just continuing to partner with each other, whether that be a neighborhood association connecting to a school or a business connecting with the residents around their immediate area to figure out how they can work together to get things done, is super powerful. And I'm looking at Officer Gomez right now, and I think of even the Meals program that she started and how that's been bridging the gap between Latino people connecting with the police force. And I think that's just a very practical example of how someone stood up for their community and is how do we bridge that gap. So I think that is one of the strengths even in the community of the very many that we see.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think some of the skills or strengths that we have already are just that our schools are doing so much for the community already. At Waco High, there's a food pantry that serves hundreds of families, and there's, in Transformation Waco, there's an eye clinic where people can get glasses that can't get them otherwise. And I think areas of growth, I'm always going to advocate for more mental health services on the campuses. I think just a little soapbox here is that the recommendation is 1 school social worker to every 400 kids, and right now in Texas we have 1 to 13,000. And so, and we have school counselors, we have other positions, but there's just not enough support for our kids. And so that's where I see opportunity for growth and opportunity for partnership and funding and all kinds of areas there. So, but I think what I do see is, and more maybe from the parent side, is just I see teachers staying late and reaching out and planning activities and building real relationships with kids that are lasting and meaningful, and that my kids walk into a school every day and know that they're known and loved, and that I know that they're known and loved, and so that I feel safe with them being there. And that means the world to me, that, if they're not gonna be with me, I want them to be with someone who really likes them at least. And so, and mine are a little challenging at times. And so I think it just, I think those are some real strengths that we have in our community. Schools are the heartbeat of the community. And so the more ways we can support them, I think we will see more and more bridges.
I would say the strength are the students who make up all organizations on campus and just the student population life in general. I think the strength in which they decided to go ahead and make their orgs into something that represents not just who they are, but who Baylor is extremely powerful, because I wouldn't really have my job if it really wasn't for them. I wouldn't be part of the organizations if it wasn't for them. And I mean, like I said before, they're the change makers, and they're the ones who have a voice. And if it also wasn't for the faculty and staff who support them either, that wouldn't be possible either. So those strengths and those relationships that you guys mentioned before, and just all the cultural competency as well, and just building relationships, and not just any relationships, but meaningful relationships where we listen to our students and our student population and what they want and what they're looking for, and then just action plans on what that looks like to achieve these goals and sustain them as well. And I think as far as something that can be strengthened is really just support. That's honestly what a lot of us are really looking for. And we have that within our incredible faculty and staff, like the MA, but really just spreading the word, I think, is also extremely important, because a lot of our minority students, right, we tend to go to MA because it's a safe place and it's a place we want, it's a place where we feel seen on campus. And I think just really supporting these organizations that help these students can be extremely impactful and powerful, because not everyone on campus knows what MA is, or what all of our Latinx or Asian coalition students or Black coalition student organizations are. So I think just spreading the word, supporting them is something we can really strengthen.
Yeah, ditto to Department of Multicultural Affairs, because I would not have graduated, I would not have gotten through Baylor undergrad or grad school without the support, the access to resources, the additional scholarship funding that was found on my behalf, and just opportunities for a crazy, wayward student to get set back straight. And my former mentor is sitting in here laughing because we've come a long way, Jeffrey. But the beauty, like we've all said, is Waco is beautiful for the resiliency and the strength of its people.
Yeah.
And it's not seeing our children as they may be presenting themselves right now.
Yeah.
It's seeing how they're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, how they're going to get to serve on panels and replace us in roles. And I think one of the areas that we can grow in, and this is one of my dear friends, Soul, will tell us all the times that we can get very comfortable and live in silos. And, we get in our little corners and our little hubs, and then one thing happens, and then the conversation is very limited, right? And so it's challenging ourselves to be intentional of going into different places and spaces, not as the authoritarian on the information or that space, but just being there to simply listen and hear what's going on. What is going on with my brothers and sisters that look like me, and what's going on with my brothers and sisters and my kids that don't look like me, and how can I invest in them? We invest in Louis, Gucci, Prada, nice cars and nice bow ties. I'm seeing everybody in here looks lovely. But what does it really look like, as someone that does development, wink, wink, what does it look like to find an organization that you truly believe in the mission and you're seeing the fruits of their labor, and to send $5 a month? Serious. Now, if you want to see me after this is over, I can get you some information on how you can give specifically to CIS. But this is not just advocating for CIS. The truth is that money runs everything here.
Yeah.
There's somebody that paid for us to eat this lovely meal. There's someone that advocated for us to have this room and to use this space. And so it is on us to figure out where we're pouring our energy and our funds into to move the needle forward.
Thank you. Thank each of you. I think you got us started on this, and I do think one, it's a good reminder that it does take investment, right?
Yeah.
Maybe investment in CIS. I'm going to let you plug that. Yeah, that role is serious. But it does take different types of investment. So I wonder if each of you could speak. You all obviously have good practice in what it looks like to begin to build bridges in communities. I wonder if you could kind of think about one easy step that someone here tonight could begin to take down that path of what that could look like, just really practically for those who came to listen tonight. So Mary, if you don't mind getting us started.
Yeah, then you'll finish, it'll be great. Also, I met my husband working at CIS, so I think it is a great organization. I'm not saying you will, but you might. Anyway, I think one practical step is just starting a conversation. So someone who's different, someone who is in a place where you maybe want to be or where you think there might be a need, just start a conversation and be a listener. And listen genuinely and listen without an agenda and listen just to hear what they have to say and build true and consistent relationship. I think that's one of the things we see with the kids we work with so often is that at first they won't talk and they don't want any part of it, and then we keep showing up and we keep showing up and we keep showing up, and by the end of the year they're like, "You're leaving? Who am I going to talk to?" It's like, well, you remember you didn't want to talk to me. So I think that's the thing, is consistency and listening.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and use your voice because you all are all leaders. So if you have a position where you can talk to your local church and figure out how to get connected to the community, I'm gonna plug our intern here, and she's working on a couple of faith groups to figure out how to collectively work on housing solutions, because there's a lot of ways that faith communities can do that. Is one practical example, but even just talk to your neighbor. I was talking with someone the other day, and we were just talking about like our roof repair application at Grassroots and what that entails. And we were just having a conversation and talking about how wouldn't it be what is gonna entice your neighbor to apply to this roof application more? Is it gonna be the stranger that's like knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, I have a free $10,000 roof for you, just apply here and give me your information"? Or is it gonna be the neighbor that says, "Hey, Vecina, I know about this awesome program and I think like you would benefit." It's that relationship that they've already had that is gonna make them more willing to like learn about the different opportunities that they have in their community. So talk to your neighbor, build those relationships, get to know people, and they'll take you way more than you thought that they could.
Mine would be ask questions. I think that's something that really refrains us a lot of the time. I know for myself, asking questions was terrifying. I never thought I could ask the right question, but I quickly learned that just asking the question could lead to something totally different, and having those mentors with you will help you develop those questions. Recently, within my job, I just, with Black History Month being so important, and then them just actually having the statues of the first two African American students here on campus has opened a door that has led to so many other minority groups on campus to really thrive on what that looks like, of who were the earliest students here on campus who looked like us and what ways did they pave. And I really get to be so honored to start doing that research on what that looks like for the next students who get to come here on campus who identify as Latinx. And then really just, I would say, just asking questions, and I know sometimes it's hard not being too shy on what that looks like or being behind the scenes, but I think with this and being on this panel has also taught me, like, even if you're behind the scenes, there's just so much for you to say. And I would say that also from the people who got you there too, I think is really very important, because I guess I would take that from my grandmama, Abuelita. She never stopped asking questions and she was always very selfless. And I think that's also a really important factor too, to allow yourself to help others without, like you guys mentioned before, without gaining anything in return.
I think, Josh, the first thing that people need to do is y'all are going to get an email after this is over. You need to complete the survey so that HLN can know how you received this magnificent panel. And then you need to figure out which arm, I don't know the ins and outs of HLN, but there's some type of work that you can get connected to through HLN. I suggest you research the website. I know just at a surface level, there's a program called Navigando, excuse me. That looks amazing at University High School. I'm sure y'all could use volunteer funding.
Absolutely.
Volunteer funding and all of the wonderful things. So first step you can do is complete the survey with feedback, then figure out what arm of the program can you support HLN. And I guess I just would end with, before I used to go to sleep, my father would tell me, he'd say, "Bookie, you can do anything you put your mind to." And so I just want everyone to leave here never forgetting that you can do anything that you put your mind to. So as we are leaders, we need to leave here knowing that we are servant leaders. So we need to put our minds on being servants and being bridges. Thank you.
Thank you for the exciting part also, Tony. Yes, we can, you can go to the website and learn more. There are plenty of opportunities for you to get plugged in, to serve, you can donate. We will welcome that, absolutely. So thank you for that. We are almost out of time, so we do have one more question, but I also want to be able to have time to open up to questions from the audience. So we're gonna pause there, and if you will, join me in giving our wonderful panelists a wonderful round of applause. As you can see, they are excellent community leaders in building bridges in a variety of different ways.